Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I got the plywood's all cut and fit, but nothing's attached yet. So I'm going to pull all this out. I'm going to pull the insulation out. I'm going to reflectix the wheel wells, the gas filler, put it back up on the walls, get all the reflectix in, then I'll put the floor back in. I'll put the insulation back down. Then I'll decide if I want to reflectix the floor or not. Then I'll put the wood down. As far as the insulation is sitting right on the floor of the van. Now it does have the ribs, so it'll have a little airspace here and there. I know technically you're supposed to raise it up, give it a little bit of airspace underneath it for the insulation to work correctly, but I'm 6 foot tall. This is not a high top van. So that floor space is very valuable. I do not want to lose another inch of floor space because that's another inch I have to bend over as I try to walk back and forth in this van. So yeah, and like I said, I'm not building a church, I'm not living in this thing, so this is going to be just fine. But yeah, I'll set you up on time lapse and get going. So first things first, we'll sweep all this out. I'll lacquer thinner the floor around everything where the tape's got to stick. And then we'll try again. Alright, so I got it all swept out. Before I go ahead and start washing everything, the tape in the reflectix. So a couple more rust spots I want to wire brush and clean up. I wire brush that big spot up there, paint it white, but I'm out of white spray, so I'll just hit these with some black or something. I mean, this really isn't a concern to me because this is a real life build. This isn't a $50,000 Sprinter with a $30,000 conversion. Like, this is literally an ex-Roto-Rooter van that sat in a cow field for 3 years until I come along and paid $350 for it. Like, I drove the van for 2 years. I made a ton of money with it. I sold the shelves out of it for more than what I paid for the van. So this is a free van that, I'm doing a conversion on. So even with the new wheels that look sick and everything I do to this, by the time I'm done with this conversion, I'll have less into this than you can buy a 1990 Chevy G20 conversion van for. Because, vans are so outrageous right now. It's unbelievable. But, yeah, so we'll get started. We'll wire brush this up. We'll hit it with some spray. And then I'll start washing all this up and put the reflectix in. Alright, so I hit these with a power wire brush real quick. Got majority of the rust off. You guys can't even tell because there's no light in here. But, yeah. So I cleaned up majority of the rust. I mean, it is what it is. So what we'll do now, take a little bit of this lacquer thinner here. Because, paint thinner will leave fish eyes if you just spray paint over it. So we'll take this lacquer thinner, wash it up a little bit, and then respray it. You're gonna want to wear a glove with this because, well, like I said, I'm in the Northeast and it's like December 5th. So this shit is extremely cold on your hands. And I'm sure, according to, California Code 26- who gives a fuck, it probably causes cancer too. So if you're gonna do it, wear a rubber glove. They're cheap enough. I mean, I don't know if you can still get them during Corona, but if you can, if not, just wear some kind of a dish glove or something because it'll keep your hand warmer and, your skin is your biggest organ. It will absorb this crap and dry your hands all out and every other thing. Believe me, I've done it 100 times. So, yeah, safety first. Okay, case in point. This is what the lacquer thinner will do to the rubber glove in a matter of 5 minutes. So imagine what it will do to your skin. You know, it wears the gloves out like they're nothing. So it'll wear your skin out like it's nothing. And then it'll look all chalky white like you're 110 years old. So, like I said before, safety first. And another thing is, it's also extremely flammable, like gasoline. So, it does evaporate though. So you want to lay your rags out to dry. Don't crumple them up and throw them on the floor or something, because they can combust. I've seen it happen at work. But yeah, extremely flammable. You know, don't smoke a cigarette or a blunt while you're using your lacquer thinner, because that's not extremely intelligent, and you probably will end up with some burns. So yeah, just be smart. It's not that hard. All right, so we got a little Krylon primer. Just gonna spray over this, and then I'll hit it with whatever color spray paint I have, because it's gonna be under the floor, so who cares? Probably be some black, because I'm out of white. Honestly, in my opinion, Rust-Oleum holds up better, but Krylon dries a hell of a lot quicker. So I'll just use the Krylon. You know, you want to do this in a not an enclosed area, and you know, wear your respirator, blah blah blah. Do as I say, not as I do. You know, this is for me, not for you. So. As I said, it's probably only, I don't know, 40 degrees in here. I don't know. I don't have my wood stove going, so it's probably high 30s, low 40s in here. So, you know, this paint ain't gonna dry all that quick, but it will dry eventually. So it's good enough. Certainly out of the recommended temperatures for the use, but sometimes there's not much you can do about it. I gotta put a new pipe on the stove, so lighting it isn't really an option at the moment, and there's a storm outside and it's pouring like crazy, so I'm not gonna go out and mess with the wood stove. Because we're in the middle of a nor'easter. And I can't even turn the fan on and let it run with the heat on to dry it, because it's in my shop. And yeah, that wouldn't be too smart. Like I said, sometimes being smart isn't all that hard. It just takes a little common sense. Well, once this dries, I'll hit it with some black, and then we'll throw the reflectix in, go from there. Alright, so we got it coated with some black. I went over the stuff I painted white the other day, hit some spots up there, hit all these spots. And I decided to paint the whole back of it right here black. That way, when you open the back doors, this little bit, because insulation, you can still kind of see the line right there. The insulation in the wood stops right about there. So at least with it being black, it, you know, doesn't stick out quite as much as it does when it's white. That the end, it doesn't come to the end. You can't make it come to the end because then the doors won't shut. So, I mean, I made it go as far back as I could. I just figured it might look a little bit better black when you open the door rather than white. But, yep, as soon as this dries, we'll stop putting the reflectix on the wheel wells, and I'll actually probably start the filler now because there's no paint around that. So, all right.